You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 200. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
I'm Jeff Arnold, otherwise known as the Red Skull. You thought I was dead, didn't you? Foolish humans. Yeah. Wow, 200. That is awesome. I still don't know a dang thing about comic books.
Ooh, good thing I know a couple things, so we can, wing it. Skate by. Comic Reflections is brought to you by The Outhousers. You can find this show, plus numerous articles about various things at theouthousers.com. And if you enjoy this show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher.
All right.
Yeah, I really sold The Outhousers. There's an exciting website.
Yeah.
Didn't I? Yeah.
Oh, it is actually pretty cool.
It is cool. It's there's a lot of satire and a lot of fun there. It's at least headline-wise, it's almost like The Onion.
Yeah.
But more about comic things.
I do like how many days since DC has done something stupid.
Yeah, and they just reset the clock because they did something dumb.
What did they do?
Because now they're introducing these like half-page ads on the same page as comics in the center spread.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna build fan loyalty.
Yeah. Well, and the center, that center spread is a great place always for a 2-page splash, which not now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well, that's.
What can you do?
DC.
I love DC Comics, but they don't have a lot for me anymore.
I love them. I still love them from the Silver Age.
Oh, of course.
And there's been some really cool stuff since then. But the 70s, man. I'll read a few of these next.
Like this, I think the 50s and 60s are great times for DC, and then the 70s it's mostly kind of bad, with a few exceptions, and then the 80s are a great decade for them. Yeah. 90s they're doing good, and the 2000s they're doing good, but not so much now.
I haven't read anything since 2000, I don't believe.
Yeah. I was just thinking the other day about what decades are good to read both Marvel and DC. And I thought about it. I'm like, okay, the Marvel as we think of them aren't around in the 50s, okay? It's, Timely had become Atlas, and then, they've become Marvel in the 60s. But the 1960s is a great decade to read both. They're both really strong. The 70s, Marvel was king, and DC, outside of the Jack Kirby stuff and, a few other books, it's mostly like an ignorable decade.
Right.
Then the 80s, they're both really riding high, doing really great. Then the 90s, I think the edge goes to DC. And then in the 2000s, another great decade for both. And then, in the, 2012 or so, when DC kind of came out with the New 52, and they've blown it. And it's just been like, just read Marvel these days. So I want to see the next decade be another one where it's a great read from both.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 60s and the 80s and the 2000s, great time to read both from both of those companies.
Yeah. Oh well, what can you?
Yeah.
Don't worry. Sorry for them.
Well, right. I mean, but they've done it to themselves by making stupid decisions.
Yeah.
They had such a really lackluster decade in the 70s, and then Jeanette Kahn came along at the end of the decade and really turned them around and saved them. And they had, a great 20-year stretch following her arrival at DC. So I love that lady. She is a godsend.
That's cool. It is such a male bastion, and when a gal does good in comics, it is something. And I wonder if there'd been more girls put in position, or women rather. Yeah. But it would have changed.
But Jeanette Kahn, I'll sing her praises until the day I die. She was wonderful. She just spearheaded just the great things at DC.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay, speaking of not so great things.
Oh, well, we will be in disagreement on this, but that's okay. Right. The first book we're going to talk about today is Astonishing Tales number 29. It's the April of 1975 issue. And the story in this issue is called Earth Shall Overcome. It's a reprint from Marvel Superheroes number 18 from January of 1969. And, of course, this is the story that introduces the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was written by Arnold Drake, penciled by Gene Colan, and inked by Mike Esposito.
Yeah, only thing I've seen of Guardians of the Galaxy is a movie before I read this, and
I think we read an issue of The Defenders where the Guardians guest appeared.
Oh.
This was over a year ago, and I thought I could have swore that maybe I read it and we didn't do it on the show together, but I had read some other 70s Guardians material.
I don't remember, but
it's
kind
okay.
Of brain damage, so I don't know. Nobody here. I am Groot, and do not appear in this comic book.
The only member of the original Guardians that was in the movie was Yondu, and he appears as a villain.
Huh.
You know, the blue guy with mohawk.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a Finn, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I don't. This is pre-Star Wars, I think.
Yeah.
It's 85.
Well, I told you it's a reprint from 1969, so yeah.
69. So okay. It just. Oh yes, you did. It's just not very. I don't know. It didn't grab me. I didn't care for any of the characters. The spaceships are stupid, and I don't know. Maybe if I had not seen the movie, I wanted Groot and that.
Oh, I see. That painted your expectations coming in. You saw the splash. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then like no one familiar was there.
Yeah, but the story isn't that great. I mean, it could be interesting, but I didn't really. I was looking for the characters, and the characters I had known was in it that had been kind of cool, or at least a few, but
it's totally different.
And the characters are kind of dull.
Yeah. I like the concept. Also, 4 pages of the original story are edited out of this reprint.
Ooh.
Because of, I think, just page count cuts they were doing in the late 70s, or in the 70s. And it hurts the story, especially because it's introducing these characters, and you get 4 less pages of possible character development. Because it does feel kind of rushed, especially the third act.
Okay. I knew something was off.
Yeah, because I think I had read the uncut version of it before. I'm a big fan of Gene Colan too, but I don't think, and he does a great job here, but I don't think he's really right for these characters for this. For this kind of story. I mean, the art is great, but I just, having read some other things with these characters, I'm like, no, Gene isn't the best choice. Even though the art is executed beautifully.
The bad guys look great.
Yeah, the Badoon. Yeah. And also, I think it's really hard to set up a team and get you to care with just one issue.
And especially all the people are new.
Yeah.
It's not like Batman meets Aquaman and sort of team.
Yeah.
But there's this, and I don't know. They start running.
Let's talk about the story.
Okay. All right. There's a space cruiser.
Yeah, there is. So this is in the future, and the human race has genetically engineered several offshoots of itself to like be able to live on other moons and other colonies and stuff. And humanity is basically being conquered or been conquered by these alien reptile people, the Badoon.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah.
A space cruiser, and only one guy comes out and says, "Oh, did everyone else in the crew die?" But that's the whole crew is. I don't know. I thought that was kind of odd, and so you would think there'd be more people. And so he comes back home, and his world is empty. So he's being chased by the.
All right. Now the first guy we meet is Charlie 27, and where was he? What moon was he on, or what planet? Like Jovian? Oh no, excuse me. Martin X is Jovian. I can't remember where he is from.
No, a 5th generation Jovian.
Oh no, that's right. Okay, you're right.
Militia man.
Yeah, and so he's like this big guy, like, and he's kind of built to be able to withstand like heavy atmosphere, and so he's a big burly guy with super strength.
Yeah. Oh, looks like he's going down to Jupiter. It can't be that stupid.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh well. So he's being chased, so he goes into a transport, living matter transmitter.
Yeah.
And goes off to another planet. Which one does he go to?
I've totally forgot. It doesn't really.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But he meets people each time.
Yeah, he meets Martin X, who is a crystal man, and Martin X has, I think, elemental powers, controlling heat and cold.
Yeah.
And along the way, of course, they're being chased and attacked by the Badoon, these ugly reptile people.
Mm-hmm.
We also come on to the other two Guardians we'll meet in this. Captain Vance Astro, who was an astronaut who had been sent into outer space in this protective suit, and he was going to live like 1,000 years and, start colonies or whatever. Well, the joke was on him by the time he reached the end of his journey, like a couple hundred years into his trip. Human race had found a way faster way to get to wherever he was going, and so there was generations of people who had lived on wherever and met him, and so his whole life was like wasted. And also with him is a prisoner, Yondu, who is a member of a primitive race.
I like Yondu.
He's rad, yeah. And Captain Vance Astro, he has like telekinetic powers too.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
He also has a filmy skin. I don't know.
It's a containment suit. Yeah.
Yeah. So if he scratches it, he dies, or he ages.
Or if you break it, yeah, it's like a copper coated thing. So, but yeah, if you broke the suit, he would die.
Man, that's. I wouldn't go around doing much of nothing.
It is a weird idea for a superhero. Oh, you puncture my outfit, I'm toast.
Right. So, all right. So it's a bunch of fighting, and then they get together and they sing "Earth Shall Overcome." So, which was kind of cheesy, but it's okay. I suppose.
And it's an okay setup to get these four characters together, and of course they'd be joined by a few others over time. But I think these characters are fun. I think this is because there's so much a big concept. It's almost like, can we introduce them into like a 64-page special and really get them into a serious adventure like after they've gotten together?
Yeah.
Because they get together at basically the very end, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're at an adventure, then they get there, and this adventure's going so quickly, you can't catch your breath.
Right. I do love the final panel, where they're singing "Earth Shall Overcome," but they've pledged to, work together to try and overthrow the Badoon, and I don't know. I think that's just a really classic panel.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
And they're sitting in front of this, looks like a city on fire. So,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the next book we've got to talk about, this is loads of fun. This is awesome. It's Captain America number 101, which really it's number 2. Tales of Suspense ended after number 99 and then was renamed Captain America with number 100. And at the same time, Iron Man got his own book, and this became all Captain America. So, But anyway, the story in this issue is called When Wakes the Sleeper. It's written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Sid Shores. Oh, and this is the May of 1968 issue.
Yeah, it's a great front panel here.
Oh, yeah. It's just Captain America kicking butt. And especially when Kirby's doing Captain America, I mean, and most of the time anyway, he's just the most fun character to look at in comics because he's just got all this energy, and he's just kicking all the crap out of guys all the time.
Yeah. There's no one can show motion like Kirby. It's just amazing.
People have complained about his anatomy, although I think it's solid and it's great for comics.
I think the anatomy's fine. The faces sometimes I don't like. The heroes.
Yeah, but showing movement and action, I mean, there's nobody better than Kirby. Especially for such a still medium.
Right.
There's a reason he's the king of comics.
Right.
And he will reign forever.
Yep. I don't think anyone's going to even try to get here.
I mean, there are great comic artists who have come, who were his contemporaries and have come after him, but no one can hold a candle to him.
Yeah.
To what he's done, no matter how great anybody is. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, we start. Red Skull is dead. Captain America is going after this. What's his goober's name? It's
He's a Nazi.
he is a Nazi. So he's about to beat him up. Well, no, Captain America's getting his butt kicked.
Oh, these guys dogpile on him. Yeah.
Right.
But this guy, he's a war criminal that Captain America is trying to get and is accusing this guy. And then Nick Fury shows up and says, no, just let him go. And then Cap's really pissed, like, what's going on? Fury tells him, like, look, we know he's a Nazi, but we think he can lead us to the Red Skull, who isn't dead. So we're going to let him go, and then you can get them both. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, they probably still think he's dead, but somebody took over Red Skull. So
right.
That's fine. So they have these sleepers. I don't know anything about the sleepers, but this is the fourth one.
Right. I have read about the previous sleepers. I've read some stories with them, and it's just these robots that are really awesome and with great destructive power. So the Red Skull isn't dead, and he's plotting to waken the fourth sleeper, who is the most powerful of all, and it'll destroy the world and all that, you know.
Yeah. He's on this island that was built up by Hitler, and Hitler didn't make it to go there, so Red Skull's taking over.
That's cool.
Wouldn't you love to have a hidden fortress? I would love that.
Yeah.
So
it makes me think of like the Justice League's original headquarters, their mountain sanctuary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, that's always cool.
So he follows the bad guy through the hidden fortress.
Captain America does?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he gets shot down by some kind of vibra gun. And just cool. So well drawn.
Yeah.
And so Captain America falls out of the ship because it disappears.
Sure.
And he puts on a vibra, this inflato suit, which inflates into like, I don't know.
Like a balloon around his body.
Right.
And it's great because then it just like, he lands and he's fine. But yeah, the vibra gun shattered the craft that he was in. So.
Yeah. And he's captured and he's fighting and.
Here's the thing: if somebody shot a vibrating weapon against your aircraft that you were in, wouldn't it like shatter your bones too?
Yeah, even a super soldier should, unless it only works against metal.
Yeah.
Or the metal.
Or it's in a
takes
comic
all
book.
the power. Yeah, or it's in a comic book.
But yeah.
Alright, so Captain America's captured.
Yeah.
And oh no, it's the Red Skull. He's alive.
Yeah, and so the Red Skull has this tiny key that will control the sleeper. That's important.
Yeah.
And then, he wakes it up.
And Sleeper is mad and is not controlled by the key. So Captain America breaks free, and here's a fight over the key between him and Red Skull. Red Skull jumps down this tube,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So the Sleeper,
he can alter his density and like walk through things, and he's super strong and powerful and everything too.
Yeah,
man, look at all that.
Look
at all those Kirby dots. Look at that Kirby crackle. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, he can be a living volcano, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, how do you destroy a thing like that?
I don't know. I have to read the next issue, I guess, to find out.
I guess.
He destroys the whole island.
Man.
So Red Skull and Captain America are in this sealed container.
Yeah.
And
of course they start fighting.
Yeah. So Captain America grabs the key, and they fight, and then the water comes in. And let's see. And the world's about to be blown up by the Sleeper.
Yeah.
But
Cap escapes with his life, and he's got the key.
Yeah. You think the Red Skull made it?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it. There's like decades of comics where he's still fighting Captain America. But it's really cool. No, there's also a house ad I want to show you on the very back. And it's advertising the debut of the Submariner's new series, the new #1, and Iron Man's first issue of his solo series.
Yeah, man, cool covers.
Man, I know.
What an arrogant I was trying to think of a nice word, but arrogant guy.
The Submariner is?
Yeah.
Oh, he is.
Oh, he just drips condescension.
Yes. He
That is
condensates condescension.
Ah.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
All right. The next one?
Chamber of Chills.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's Chamber of Chills number 21 from March of 1976. And the lead story is called Put Another Nickel In, which is a reprint from Chamber of Darkness number 6 from August of 1970. I know.
Okay.
Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
No. It's just Chamber of Darkness, Chamber of Chills. It wasn't very dark and it wasn't very chilling, but
and I don't really remember a chamber being part of any of these stories.
Right.
So, but it's a good title for a series. I mean, that's Chamber of Chills. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I know what this is going to be about, kind of. So anyway, this story was written by Mimi Gold, with art by Dick Ayers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of, as I look in this story, there's a lot of, especially faces that make me think of Steve Ditko.
Yeah. Indeed.
So Dick Ayers is great. I like him.
Yeah. Put Another Nickel In is from a song. Put another nickel in the Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
All I want to see is all I want is having you and music.
Yeah.
It's a very old song. But I don't know. Okay, this guy is stealing plans for biological poison. And he goes into a penny arcade to, I don't know, watch a movie or something. I think it's kind of stupid.
I thought he was being tailed and was trying to duck away and get lost in a group of people.
Well, the cops are on the lookout for him. He's not being actually tailed, I don't think.
Right.
But, and he's, I can see going to a regular theater where it's dark. But this is a bunch of people hanging around, and it's got a Nickelodeon, which is a device. You look down, put a nickel in, and
turn a crank.
Yeah, and a movie occurs.
Yeah,
and in about a minute or so, maybe.
Sure. This is before YouTube.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he gets, there's a fortune teller thing, and he gets a fortune that says, "Beware where the dragon leads you," and the guy scoffs at it. So he sees this one guy at a Nickelodeon, and the guy looks satisfied. So the bad guy looks through Nickelodeon and sees what he just did. He was stealing the plans for the biological, I don't know what it is.
It's a germ bomb or something like that.
Yeah. And the inventor walks in, and the bad guy shoots him.
Yeah.
And because he got in his way. And the guy he is originally stealing from says, "Hey, he is a really nice guy who invented poison,
right?
Biological gas." What I'm saying, but
he's a real sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. So the guy sees this, and Nickelodeon says, "Well," so he puts another nickel in, and let's see. Then he hears about the cops are after him, so he runs off, and he runs in the back and jumps out of the window, and he dies because there's a dragon's head there, so he should have been beware of the dragon.
Right.
Dun, dun, dun. Then we finally find out that the Nickelodeon can see the past and future, and is invented by the same guy, the inventor that the bad guy killed.
Weird.
So, yeah.
He invented a Nickelodeon and germ bombs.
Yeah.
I like that. He's got a range there,
Right. I don't know.
It wasn't my favorite story.
No.
I enjoyed the art though.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It is trying too hard to be ironic.
There's something. I mean, there are some noirish elements to the art itself, and I like that. But yeah, it's no great shakes as a story. So the first of several backups, I guess of two, but is called Tidal Wave of Fear, and it's a reprint from Venus number 18 from February of 1952, and this was written and drawn by Bill Everett, the creator of the Submariner.
He likes his water, don't he?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess he's good at it.
Yeah.
And so Venus is a character who seldom appears these days in Marvel Comics, but she was sort of a mystery superheroine, descended from mythology or whatever, and yeah, she had her own book.
Wonder why. You got Thor and you got a bunch of other gods, and why not put Venus in there?
Sure. Although she had a book before Thor did. We're talking the 50s.
All right.
So.
Well drawn.
Yeah, no, Bill Everett's one of the greats. Especially, I know you kind of have a thing against a lot of times like Golden Age artists not too happening, but there are wonderful artists from that period, and Bill Everett is one of the giants.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is a tidal wave hits the coast, so east coast of America. Yeah. Venus is around, and she's trying to save people, and let's see. So the government, and so this entire city is destroyed.
Yeah.
Development. So Cruella de Vil.
It's not really Cruella de Vil, but the gal looks like her. Yeah.
She's all mad because she wants to build another subdivision, and the government won't let her.
Right.
But she uses her money and power to make and build another one.
Yeah.
And Venus is all, I wonder what's going on with this. I don't know who Venus is with.
Some guy, like it's her friend.
Mars. I don't know.
No, she has like mortal friends, but yeah, it's also like if you're just reading a random story, you don't know these supporting characters. Like I don't either.
Yeah. But this is one of the wordiest things I've ever read. Just huge and just big blocks of words. And Neil Gaiman can do that in it was a game. I never can.
Doesn't matter.
But he can do that in Sandman because he's a good writer. But this is this exposition, and it's ridiculous. Why would somebody want to build buildings on the coast when there's so much land inland you can build? And for crying out loud, coast.
People want to live there because it's by the ocean. Duh.
Yeah, they've been doing that for 5,000 years. Want to live by the ocean.
Yeah, and somebody's like, I wonder why somebody want to do that. Yeah. Is a weird question to ask.
Yeah. Do they not know anything about it, or are they just... Or I don't know. It just seems they're trying hard to make this go, and it doesn't.
I think it could be... I think you're really onto something there. I think it could be idea of like a story idea that doesn't really work, but they just went with it and tried to make it work anyway.
Yeah. It's just a lot. I mean...
Like I remember when we read like some 50s crime comics. There's a lot of words. Okay, they're it takes a while to read those, but they're really good reads. This is like, nah, it's okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't get the hardcover edition of Venus, which is out there, but I'm like,
yeah. There's 4 panels of Cruella de Vil here trying to argue with a bureaucrat, and you need one. And they're all kind of...
Yeah, it's definitely 2 panels too many.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right, so Cruella de Vil.
Also, there are sequences that, maybe it's an 8-page story or whatever, and Bill Everett's like, he wrote it and drew it, and he may have padded it out later to fill out his page requirement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that can happen
so
too.
I'm going to pad myself with bureaucratic infighting. That's going to grab the kids.
Well, you know what? That's going to please my editor or whomever has given me assignment and said they assigned me an 8-page story, not a 6-pager.
Okay, so Cruella de Vil's real name was Seacrest.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a clue. She builds another subdivision, and then the tidal wave hits out again. So Venus is there at this time, and she's saving people, and then she sees Seacrest laughing and going ha ha ho ho. I always hate those fake laughs in there. Yeah. Does anyone ever laugh ha ha ho? Actually, I've seen one girl do ho 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 for real. So, but
I don't know.
you know, so Venus thinks that Seacrest is dead, so she comes visit her in her office, and then Seacrest is living. So what gives?
I don't know. Stuff.
Yeah, Seacrest looks evil. She really does look like Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
On a bad day. So these. Alright, Venus figures out that she's trying to kill the people, so she has the place evacuated, and Cruella de Vil comes, hits with another tidal wave, and then they fight, and which is kind of a weird fight, because we find out that Seacrest is the daughter of Neptune, who, as we all know from high school, dies in an atomic bomb test.
Right.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about that. Neptune dying in the atomic bomb. It made all the papers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Right. Seacrest is trying to kill everybody by having them move to the coast and then killing with a tidal wave. Yeah, that's a brilliant plan. Yeah.
It seems like an awful lot of energy and resources expended when you could just, if you can control water, why don't we just go to other coastal towns and cause tidal waves?
Right. And,
because she's into wanting to kill just people, right?
Right. I guess. I don't know.
Like, what a dumb plan if you're killing people indiscriminately anyway.
Unless you really hate people on the right coast or something.
And she hates money because obviously she's blowing it all on all this crap.
Yeah. Or she doesn't need it anyway.
Weird.
It's just, I don't know how she,
Who?
I don't know how Seacrest dies. They're arguing, about to get a fight, and then she goes into this ocean whirlpool.
Well, here's the thing. If you have water powers or whatever, you're not going to drown. That's not going to work. So, yeah, there's a lot of problems with this story.
Yeah. Supposedly she was killed by her own evil scheme. Meh. Okay.
So, we have another backup story, and it's the final one for this issue. It is called The Girl with the Evil Eyes, and it's reprinted from Astonishing, number 63, from August of 1957, with art by Fred Kita.
Okay. This guy is in the Caribbean. He goes out to check out a voodoo ceremony. He doesn't believe in it. He finds an amulet. The local voodoo witch tells him that's a magic amulet. He doesn't believe it. But he sees into the future. Oh, Twinkie alert.
Oh, Twinkie alert.
Yeah.
I wish we had like a soundboard with like a sound that would
Ooga,
for like
ooga.
Twinkie alert.
Yeah.
For another Hostess fruit pie
We're
ad.
getting fewer and fewer of the ones we have not seen.
Right. And in the next 6 months we'll have phased out these coverless return copies anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be no more Twinkie alerts.
Yeah.
An opportunity lost.
Right.
Oh well.
Spider-Man and MJ are in their house, and it's
Peter Parker and MJ.
Yeah. They're looking out. Oh, someone's getting mugged. Yeah. And so Peter's like, oh, I gotta go out and get something. And so here's some, what is it? Hostess cupcakes. Keep it quiet. So he goes out and beats Marco.
Oh, Man Martin Marco. And that's actually a villain from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was just a big brute of a guy, but yeah.
And so I guess MJ here does not know that Peter Parker is actually Spider-Man.
At least not at this point.
I didn't spoil anything for anybody, did I?
Well.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go back to this stupid comic. And the guy goes to sleep after getting the amulet, and he dreams that he meets his brother, and his brother has this beautiful girlfriend.
Oh, right.
And in the dream she says, hey, let's get together and ditch your brother. And I think she wants him to kill his brother.
Yeah.
So he wakes up and says, no, this is awful. And then he says, oh, that's an old kooky dream. But in comics, of course, his brother comes, and here comes this beautiful girl.
And now he's got a problem. Do I go through with all this? This stuff is happening now? Woo!
Yeah.
But that's the whole story.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't care.
Okay.
All right.
So we've got one more issue to talk about for this episode, and it is Creatures on the Loose, number 10, from March of 1971. This is the first. It has just been retitled from Tower of Shadows, which ran 9 issues. So this is the first issue of Creatures on the Loose. But anyway, the lead story is called The Skull of Silence, written by Roy Thomas, with beautiful art by Bernie Wrightson. Two things. Well, actually, just one. It's Bernie Wrightson, who went on to do Swamp Thing and other wonderful stuff. But this is the first appearance in comics of King Kull, the Robert E. Howard character. So,
two things. One, this is beautifully drawn.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Some of the best stuff ever in comics that I've seen.
Bernie Wrightson is a giant. He's great.
Yeah. The story is kind of lame. It's just...
Yeah, the story didn't do much for me either.
Yeah, King Kull is going around, oh, this crown is heavy upon my head, and all the worries and all that stuff. And I wish I could go be a barbarian and rob people and all that stuff. They go by this castle, and they say, hey, let's check out the castle, and they're warned, no, this is where the Skull of Silence is, so it is cursed. And oh, let's go then.
Right.
So he goes in, and there's silence, it's oppressive, and it's scary, and he's about to be killed, but he sees this gong, has a jade mallet, which is kind of cool. And he hits it, and keeps on hitting the gong, and the silence is broken. The end.
Well, that's kind of what happens when you hit a percussive instrument.
Yeah, indeed. Very good. Man, this is gorgeous. Beautiful work. I wish the story was a little bit better.
Yeah. But no, Bernie Wrightson is a master of the craft. Yeah. He's really great.
There's one panel, and silent screams. It's really, really cool. I could put that on my wall if I want to have nightmares for the rest of my life. It is awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he puts his crown back on. Kull does, and so, oh, that's not so bad after all. Then he goes on and has adventures.
Yeah. The thing about like Kull, he would get his own book at Marvel. They always had great art. I remember Wally Wood did some Kull, and then I think John Severin did, and it's just beautiful. But he's just boring. Like Conan is always exciting. Kull is dull.
Why is there a Kull?
I don't.
Conan.
I don't know. He does different stuff. He's from Valusia, Atlantis, or whatever, and he has kind of a different arc. But he's kind of like if you took Prince Valiant and mixed some Conan-y things in there, but it's still not that cool. Prince Valiant is good on his own, and Conan is cool on his own. A guy that's kind of a blend of the two, not as exciting.
It could be. It just needs stories. I've never read a real King Kull story. I like Robert E. Howard.
Well, we read a couple issues of Kull before. Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about books. I've not read.
Oh, I haven't either, to be honest.
With words, not pictures.
Comics have words. I know.
Yeah, I know. Reading a book will make your lips tired.
Oh man.
But.
Oh, all right. You got me. You zapped me.
Yeah, but it's yeah. It doesn't seem to be necessary. Although maybe someone's hard. I don't know. But it's a story. It doesn't matter what characters. I think the story is key, and if the story is good, comic will be good.
Yeah.
All right. What's good in it? What makes a comic book story good? The art.
Yeah.
The story.
And the characters, exciting characters in a real jam. How do they get out of it? How do they triumph?
Characters that you care about.
Yeah.
Villains that you hate and like at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's a guy you're like, oh, I just hate that guy. He's just nasty all the time. Even if he's the bad, it's the bad guy and he's supposed to be. It's just
Red Skull is getting there. It's not. There's no. Dr. Doom, Lex Luthor, cool. They're mean and nasty, and they're interesting.
I'm drawing a blank right now, but there are villains I'm like, oh, this guy, dang it. He's such a jerk face, and like they're a good villain, but I just don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
Red Skull, I'm like, oh, sign me up. I really do like him.
Yeah,
but he's more one dimensional than Doom or Luthor.
I'm trying to think of a. Let's see. Paste Pot Pete, I'm not interested in.
No, maybe, he's lame. You're right. Oh, but that name, it sings. I tell you.
Yeah, okay.
It does.
Mm.
But you'll always remember it.
True. But,
what's the name of the guy with the glue?
I always remember inflation in the 70s too. So.
Right. I'm not saying it's like he's the greatest thing, but
yeah.
you'll stick with it. He'll stick with you.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's not a pun about glue.
I'll be on the lookout for evil villains that I don't like at all. So.
We've had some. Like when we read Brothers of the Spear, the villain was just nasty and like, oh, I hope they get this guy.
Yeah.
He was like that evil witch doctor or whatever, remember?
Oh, yeah.
But I think the thing about you, I think you hit the nail on it a little earlier. It's like, I care about Conan. I care what happens to him. Mm-hmm. I don't care what happens to Kull.
Yeah, maybe because Conan came first, or maybe he came second. I don't know.
I'm not sure,
but to us, he came first because it's the first time we've seen him.
And the thing is, Conan the Barbarian in the Conan movies, he's borrowing a lot of Kull elements. And then when Kull got his own movie, he was like borrowing a lot of Conan things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's weird. But
I think story over characters. Story, characters, art.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You got to have the right combination is what you're saying.
Yeah. But characters and a bad story and good art does not make a good comic. I mean, I think of all the three, the story is most. And this is where this... Because the character's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But the story is he bangs a gong. Oh, okay. I'm crying out loud. I can do that. I can go over there. You have a gong right here. I can go whang and yay. That's not heroic. So.
You make a very solid argument.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the backup feature.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Troll the Unhuman. And it's a reprint from Tales to Astonish number 21 from July of 1961. And it was written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Dick Ayers.
Yeah, this is early Kirby, and it's still cool. So.
I don't know how it's... I would not call it early Kirby.
Really?
Because Kirby was working in the 40s. This is the 60s.
I mean, is it?
Yeah, 1961.
Yeah, it doesn't look as Kirby-esque. This is
I think
Golden Age Kirby, maybe, Golden Age of Kirby, not Golden Age.
I feel like Kirby's best work is really the mid '60s through the '70s.
Right.
Like he just the '60s is when he became Kirby.
Right.
So
yeah, there's some cool stuff here.
Yeah.
It's a simple rocket ship. An alien comes to Earth. He's in this yellow. I don't like yellow rocket ships, but Guardians of the Galaxy had a yellow rocket ship. But this one's okay. I'm not going to tell you what it looks like, but it's pretty well done. Yeah. So the alien dies and is...
He's a robot, by the way. Right. Or he's a spirit or something that lives in a robot.
Yeah. So his body dies, but his spirit goes out and we don't know what it does because we go to the protagonist who is building a bridge. They're about to open it, and it crashes.
Because a 1 in a million thing goes wrong, and it falls apart. And I'm like, you would have to be the worst engineer in the world for like a tiny thing like to set off a chain reaction where it collapses.
Yeah, or they don't explain this, and there ought to be like saboteurs did it, or bad materials, or
right. But
something.
It's like the guy was a solid engineer. He built this bridge, and then it just collapsed on the day they open it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, they're about to cut the red tape, and it falls apart. I mean, it's not even a galloping Gertie type thing.
You need to explain that reference.
Okay, look, please, if you had never heard of Galloping Gertie, Google Galloping Gertie. It's this bridge that there's harmonic... the wind caused harmonic convergence or something like that, and it started waving. And it was like it's made out of plastic.
Weird.
Yeah, and did it for days. And there's video of it, and there's a car on there and all. No one got hurt, but rhythmic, happening to do some rhythmic to a bridge. Sometimes it will start to wave, and make
Weird.
waves in it. Check it out; it's awesome.
Okay.
So our architect feels bad about it, as I think anybody would.
Yeah.
So he goes to Africa and he starts inventing. He invents a steam shovel. I love steam shovels. What a cool thing!
They are. There was a great children's story when I was a kid about a steam shovel that was like a person or something, and it was just great at being a steam shovel, and then it got trapped in a foundation that it made, and they made it into the furnace later.
Yeah, well, it was used coal, and then I love the story too. And then
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
electric ones and all this stuff, and just know the steam engine, but they were going to build this one place, and he really builds it, and it's just, I don't know, it's just awesome.
Yeah, you remember that story too, then?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember it was top of the line, and then it became like the old-fashioned piece of crap no one cared about anymore.
So at the very end, he's used to heat the water or the furnace.
Yeah.
So, and it was a sweet story that, stayed in my brain.
I wish I remember what it was called because it was great. Was it like Henry the Steam Shovel or something?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll take a look. So
yes,
we'll tell you next show. We will have the answer.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, however, he makes this great steam shovel, which looks really cool.
Yeah, and of course, somehow the steam shovel looks like it has a face on the front, kinda. And of course, it gets inhabited by the ghost of the alien.
Yeah. But first, our protagonist and his girlfriend is there, and they're watching this guy beat up
an elephant.
For crying out loud, I don't get it.
The guy's ready to hit an elephant with chains because it won't move. And then our hero sort of, it's like, hey, that's awful. Don't do that. It's just an animal.
Right. And his girlfriend saying, oh, he can't ever use a milksop. I forgot about that.
Wait a sec. She thinks the guy who was going to beat an elephant with chains is in the right?
Yeah.
What a horrible person she is.
Yeah. Oh, well. So she goes for his name, Bart. That's his name, the bad guy. And let's see, they tried the steam shovel, and it becomes alive, and it takes over, and he wants to take over the world. And the steam shovel forces them to work for him. Because it's gonna drop a boulder on him. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So he plans to defeat he has him get all this like rocks and plans so he can discover what the world's like. Then he takes the steam shovel with a stick and uses the beach for a blackboard.
Yeah.
Then he makes a TV.
Yeah, he's using all these equations. It looks like a Flintstones television. It's great.
Yeah, he's going to invent this thing that'll destroy cities and shrink the military, and so a rabbit could kill them. So they get to a radio and they contact people, and people says, "Look at this crazy person." He says, "The steam shovels come to life." How? So,
Whenever I see people go ha ha and it's HAW, it's a deep belly laugh at somebody else's expense. I just enjoy that in comics.
You should read Chick Publications.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's where I get it from.
From reading the Chick tracts, really?
Yeah.
Those are so horrible. The art is great.
Some of the art's great.
I guess it varies, but yeah.
They're very interesting. So,
oh my goodness.
Don't read too many of them. They're very depressing.
They're infamous. But there's a cult of people who are obviously in great disagreement with him who collect them because they're just so crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I did it one time. So
yeah.
They're fun.
The one about Dungeons and Dragons is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and the one about witches and has the devil watching Bewitched. Oh, what a delightful show! and this is great propaganda.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that stuff's creepy. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. So.
Wow. I never quite thought we'd talk about that on this show.
It is a comic. And
it is a comic.
Very effective comic, and it's famous. So it's the most famous
non-commercial comic. You know what I mean?
Oh man, there's no second place.
Oh yeah. And it exists in the world of comics, so I get it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
we will not be reading them for the show.
That's right, because the sentiments expressed in those are horrible.
Oh, some of them, yeah, most of them are, yeah. Okay, so I'm sure there's some nice ones in there, but I can't think of any. So, all right. Okay. So they're fighting. They're trying to fight the steam shovel, and the elephant comes by, and who he saved from being hit on with her stick.
Yeah.
Or his chains.
Chains, yeah.
And
so the elephant fights the steam shovel, Troll.
Yeah. And wins. Yay. And so the girl goes from Bard back to the protagonist.
Yeah.
And
he rejects her. He says no.
So, yeah. You two deserve each other. He's a loudmouth bully, and you're fickle enough to choose whichever man is on top at the moment. That's telling him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is the 200th. Yeah. I don't think we learned anything. We just keep making the same mistakes.
Well, you know, yeah, I don't have anything there.
Yeah, neither do I. But well, maybe we'll learn something the next 200 times. See you in the funny pages.